So today I have a few questions that I want to answer. The first question is, can iodine disrupt or affect the good bacteria in the gut? So every week, every day, we get lots and lots of questions. We have a customer satisfaction team that's always available for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us and they will stay on the phone with you and help you out as much as possible. This is a common question that's come up a lot, and of course there's different forms of iodine out there. Talking about the nascent iodine or the atomic iodine, we have not found any evidence that iodine harms any of the good bacteria in the gut. As a matter of fact, talking to Dr. Brownstein, doing a lot of research on iodine, just the opposite. Iodine has been used as a very, very powerful antibiotic and antimicrobial for a long, long time. And even back in the mid-1900s, when Lugal's solution was available and iodine was prescribed, before antibiotics really came into play as a broad-spectrum antibiotic. So it doesn't necessarily cause any of the good bacteria to be damaged. Number one, iodine is very rapidly absorbed in the body, and it does distribute itself to all the tissues that need it the most. I personally love using iodine because I've read studies after studies after studies about the effectiveness of iodine when it comes to internal contamination of harmful organisms, considering the fact that we have a lot of mold, we have a lot of fungus inside of us, we have a lot of bad bacteria. You know, when people say, does iodine affect the good bacteria in the bowel? I always say, well, what do you think is going to affect the good and the bad bacteria in the bowel the most? And that's the stuff that you're consuming in your diet. Iodine helps tremendously, but when you look at the standard American diet and you start looking at genetically modified foods, you start looking at the high acids, the diet drinks, the colas, the meat, the processed, microwaved, cooked foods, I mean, that's what's going to destroy your good bacteria. I mean, it's all about, let's look at the root cause of why we're having negative impacts and conditions, which are all health conditions, negative health conditions, start in the bowel. They start in your gut. So instead of thinking, it's a great question, but instead of thinking, will iodine affect the good bacteria, let's take it a step further and say, what foods am I consuming that are affecting the good bacteria in my gut? What drinks like alcohol, sugary drinks, high fructose corn syrup are going to affect the good bacteria in my bowel? So, addressing those things are what I think are going to be the number one concern. Iodine and all of the supplements and all of the detoxification and the cleansing are going to not affect the good bacteria. They're going to enhance the good bacteria because they're going to be killing off the negative harmful organisms that have a positive charge to them. Now, iodine actually has a negative charge, just like Oxy-Powder, which will have, or monatomic oxygen, which has a negative charge to it. And then you want to also ask the question, what about some of the other antimicrobials? Grapeseed extract, oregano oil. I mean, these are all some of the things that I use. Olive leaf extract, raw garlic. I mean, these are also powerful antimicrobials that people take every day. And the question you have to ask is, if it's natural, does it come from a plant? We have natural mechanisms in our system that protect us from any damage from things that are natural. Antibiotics, which are man-made, they're not designed to alter the enzymes of the bad bacteria or produce negative ions that could kill the bacteria or have certain natural components that are going to kill the bad organisms but not the good. Those are man-made. There's a complete difference between a man-made antibiotic, antimicrobial, and also a prescription or a natural-based. Complete different. One end of the spectrum. Also, there's a lot of people that eat seaweed. There's a lot of people that have seafood. Natural sources of iodine don't ever harm the gut bacteria. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. Moving on to the next question is, does nascent iodine saturate the whole body? So I personally take and saturate my body a couple times a week, maybe even 3 times a week, with a dropperful of, or maybe even 2 dropperfuls of the Detoxidine. And I feel that because we're exposed to so many chemicals and so many toxins in the air and the food and the water, that iodine is an essential compound that every single person and child should be on. As a matter of fact, this morning I gave both of my kids, they're 11 and 9, a whole dropper full of iodine. I do that once or twice a week. So iodine loading, the beautiful thing about the body when you're talking about iodine is the body will choose where it needs to go. Most of it is going to be sucked into the thyroid gland for a good amount of time. Let's say you started taking a dropperful every other day, or a dropperful a day, or a dropperful, roughly anywhere between 18,000 and 20,000 micrograms. That sounds extremely high. But when you consider the high levels of fluoride and bromine, if you eat any bread, you're probably going to get potassium bromine in there. We're getting brominated hydrocarbons in pesticide residue and glyphosates and endocrine disrupting chemicals. So we have a massive amount of fluoride in the water system, in chlorine. People swim in chlorine and bromine. So most of the iodine in my evaluations over the years, if you start loading up on iodine, everybody's different, but the majority of the time the iodine will start going to the thyroid. That's usually the place it goes first, and start saturating the thyroid. Iodine also, it works as a strong antimicrobial. It also works to pull chemicals and heavy metals out. It's also, now we're finding out that it's neutralizing some of the effects of electromagnetic radiation exposure or hypersensitivity. So that is a humongous breakthrough that there's no clinical research on it, but there's actually people now coming forward that have had electromagnetic hypersensitivity syndrome, and they're saying the only thing that's getting them better is iodine. I would have never thought that, but again, iodine is utilized by every single cell in the body, and it's one of my favorite substances. It can take up to about 8 months, according to the studies, to detoxify the thyroid gland and to start repairing and normalizing the thyroid. And I always recommend taking selenium with iodine. Usually I'll take iodine one day, selenium the next day, iodine one day, selenium the next day. Those are the 2 real good components and natural mineral compounds that you're going to need for optimum thyroid health. Of course, I always recommend you work with your natural health care practitioner and determine, because anytime, if we're seeing a thyroid epidemic right now, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and hyperthyroidism, and anytime you're dealing with iodine, if you start taking blood work every week, your blood work is going to be all over the place. So I highly recommend you watch Dr. Brownstein's videos online and really learn about the fluctuations. Otherwise, you're going to go in, your doctor's going to freak out, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, you have Hashimoto's, and then the next week you're going to go in and your doctor's going to say, oh, you have hyper, and then the next week you're going to go in and you're going to say, the doctor's going to say that you have hypothyroidism. So cysts, if you have any cysts in your body, talking mostly to women that have prostate in men and ovarian cysts, fibrocystic breast disease in females, menstrual cycle disruption, hormone disruption in females, that is something that could be beneficial. Iodine can be extremely beneficial for any of those. And in talking about will nascent iodine saturate the whole body, it will go to those areas first, and it'll start helping the body eliminate some of those conditions. So the next question, what would you recommend for thyroid health if a person cannot take iodine or kelp or seaweed? So I have found that a nascent iodine, there's no reason anyone cannot take those. Some people have allergies to shellfish, and the doctors say, well, you can't take iodine because you're going to be allergic to it. I've never, out of hundreds of thousands of people that have taken detoxidine and so-called had allergies, I've not found anybody that could not take iodine. Iodine is extremely important for the body. If you don't take it or don't figure out a way to get it in your system, you're going to be worse off. Even, for example, I heard a doctor not too long ago saying that if you're on thyroid medications, Synthroid especially, not the natural thyroids, but you might need 9 times the amount of iodine in your body. If you cannot take iodine by mouth, then iodine soaks in through the skin. You can apply it to your inner thighs. You can apply it under your arms right here. You know, an area of your body that is not really exposed too much to the sun, and the skin is soft, and you will be able to absorb it. It's just like kelp or seaweed again. However, I still don't think you could be eating kelp or seaweed all day long, and I still don't think that you're going to be able to get enough iodine in your system. And that's only because of the environmental changes that have happened over the last 10 years. So if you do have thyroid conditions, I highly recommend applying it to the skin. If you cannot, maybe start with a bottle and then moving on from there. Okay, so the next question that I have is, how do you know if you're not absorbing B12? We're going to kind of shift off of iodine and move on to the B12. Will blood tests show any of that? The first thing you want to look for is, so many symptoms these days can be a million different things, but symptoms of B12 deficiency would be fatigue, weakness. A lot of people over the age of 40 start having fatigue in the afternoon. Severe B12 deficiency would be balance problems, constipation, depression. Really look for depression, memory problems, cognitive problems, numbness and tingling in the hands and the feet, and dementia. Those would be some of the signs that you would look for B12 deficiency. Anybody that's had any type of gastrointestinal surgery sometimes will have B12 deficiency, celiac disease, any type of intestinal disorder where you might not be able to absorb nutrients effectively. That could also cause a B12 deficiency. And what we're seeing now is low hydrochloric acid levels in the stomach. I mean, I would say that that's another epidemic because of all of the bad foods, because of the GMO, the Bacillus thuringiensis toxin, because of all the pesticide residue, the insecticide residue, the high acid content in soft drinks, the fluoride, all of the chemicals and toxins that we're consuming are burning out those cells in the stomach. So we're starting to see low levels of hydrochloric acid production, and that can also lead to B12. B12 absorption requires your stomach to produce what's called intrinsic factor. And if you have pernicious anemia, would be a decrease in intrinsic factor, and that also can contribute to B12 deficiency. So the tests that you can do to test for, if you want to look at your symptoms, that's fine. If you also want to do some testing. There's a few different tests. The Holo TC, which is HOLO. We can post these down below. The Holo TC test is a blood test, and it uses holo transcobalamin. It's a very accurate test to determine if you're B12 deficient. If you're looking for a urine test to do, you can do the MMA urine test. That's the methylmalonic acid test. You can do those. Also, if you get blood work back, just standard blood test back, and you have high homocysteine levels. High homocysteine levels can be an indicator also of B12 deficiency. The Schilling test. The Schilling test is a test used that will test for intrinsic factor. If you don't have high levels of intrinsic factor, or abnormal levels of intrinsic factor, that could also mean that you have a B12 deficiency. All right, next question is, can taking higher doses of B12 help if I have trouble absorbing it? I always recommend that you cleanse your body all the time and that you eat healthy and you address the root cause of why you might have B12 deficiency in the first place. Because if you have B12 deficiency, most likely it's not just B12 deficiency. Most likely it's a problem with absorption in your gut that needs to be healed. Most likely it could be a situation in your liver. Your liver is congested and not able to process stuff. It could be that you're eating too much meat and you're not chewing your food enough, that you're running out of enzymes. There could be a lot of different things. That's why simplicity is always the best answer for everything. And that's why over the years of having so many people come to us with so many different conditions and so many different symptoms, we always recommend taking 2 steps back instead of taking 2 steps forward and cleaning your body and detoxifying your body, because when you do that and you start eating healthy and you clean your environment, a lot of things just disappear anyway. I mean, so you can take high doses of B12 though. I mean, I don't know what you would be considered. I've taken 3, 4, 5, 6,000 micrograms a day. I mean, I know people that even take more than that. B12 is pretty easily absorbed and it's pretty easily eliminated from your system. So if you have trouble absorbing it, I would say find out why you're having problems absorbing it. But the B12 that we do is actually contains the 2 cofactors already broken down, okay? So it's not cyanocobalamin. That could be another reason you're not taking the right kind of B12 and you're not able to break it down and absorb it. B12, when it breaks down in the body, it breaks down into 2 cofactors. It breaks down into methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin. And the way that we use the glycerospheric technology when we make our B12 is it's literally absorbed or surrounded by a glycerin molecule. So, and we have the methyl and the adenosylcobalamin. So we've actually had people that were only able to get B12 shots that have switched over to our sublingual or our B12 product, our Vegan Safe B12. That have had great results with it. Great results. Lots of athletes as well. Okay, next question. Are there any natural remedies for depression? First of all, this has been a hot topic. It's been coming up a lot lately. There's more and more people. You have these suicides that are happening. You have individuals that are on many antidepressants, which is very saddening, especially kids. What is the root cause of depression? The root cause of depression is chemical toxicity in your body. The best remedy for depression is cleansing the body. We've had multiple people that have suffered from chronic depression that have gone in and done and healed their gut. There is a brain-gut connection. If you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have, any type of what is being labeled as mental illness, You will be absolutely amazed at what happens when you start cleansing your body and repairing the liver, cleansing the liver. As a matter of fact, traditional Chinese medicine, they link all mental disorders to congested liver. So what I recommend for depression is going back and cleaning out the gut and taking probiotics, doing 3 back-to-back liver and gallbladder cleanses, cleansing out all the harmful organisms in your body, and then cleansing all the chemicals and toxins and metals out of your body. And at the same time, sunlight and rest and meditation are powerful, powerful remedies for depression. CBD oil actually is very good for depression. You know, you can now get the CBD oil made from evergreen and citrus. You can get the CBD oil without any THC in it. But again, that's still not addressing the root cause of why you're depressed. Something in your life is not right. And that means, you know, when you take the initiative to cleanse your body and you purge your liver, you're already, I haven't had one person in 20 years that's gone through and repaired their gut and done multiple liver cleanses and detoxified their body that their depression didn't completely go away or didn't improve tremendously. Now, with that comes cleansing your environment. You know, what is the cause of your depression? It's toxicity, but you might have external environmental causes of your depression. You might hate your job. You might not be happy with the way you look. You might not be happy in your relationship. You might not be happy in your marriage. You know, all of these are the things that you need to look at and to identify and address. So meditation, sunlight, you know, just sitting in the sun has been known to help you with the symptoms of depression. And being out in nature. I'll tell you another thing that's gaining more and more traction now is the harmful effects and the link between electromagnetic frequencies, the amount of time that you spend on your iPad, on your iPhone, the amount of time that you're spending watching all the negative stuff on TV. Start spending time on yourself instead of watching what everybody else is doing, and start watching all the negative propaganda on TV. And, you know, stop wasting time that's not something positive. So if you look at all of these people that are suffering from fear and anxiety and depression, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. Children 9 years old are being put into rehab right now for addiction to video games. Children are being diagnosed with depression. I mean, look around your environment. I mean, what are you exposing yourself to every single day? If you're depressed, you're exposing yourself to stuff that's bad for you. You're exposing yourself, you're hanging around the wrong people. You're watching the wrong things on TV. You're looking at the wrong things online. You're not taking care of your health. You're not happy when you look in the mirror. You're not self-confident. You know, it just takes a decision. That's all it takes to change your life. You're not spending enough time in nature. You're not spending enough time with yourself. You know, listening to personal development online, YouTube. You can go to many places on YouTube and find, you know, personal development. Anthony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Mind Valley. You know, every single morning I spend 20 to 30 minutes in with my family and doing personal development and meditation, and trying to avoid all of the things that can create disharmony in your life every single day. Start a garden outside. Garden is very relaxing. Cooking, as a matter of fact, calms you down. Cooking is an incredible form of therapy. It's a healing when you actually touch the foods and you cook your own meal. Go back to when you're having family dinners, or invite good friends over and talk and enjoy your life. Fasting is very, very good for depression. You know, do some intermittent fasting, or do a 9-day fast, or look into water-only fasting. Watch my water-only fastings on YouTube. These are all some of the things that are very effective at resetting the mind, cleansing the mind. And get at least 8 hours of sleep every single night, please. Sleep is extremely, extremely important for the body to repair itself. Okay, the next question is, do I have any recommendations for adult acne? What are the best ways to get rid of adult acne? The best way to get rid of adult acne is to figure out why you have adult acne to begin with. And usually that's going to be because of your diet, because of your stress, because you're not sleeping enough, because your gut is malfunctioning. The gut and the skin always go together. And so the number one advice that I tell people to do when they have adult acne is clean and fix the gut. So I always put people on an intestinal cleanse with Oxy-Powder, and then put them on the Floratrex, put them on a good probiotic product. We have 3 products that work really, really good for repairing and regenerating the skin of the face, which is the same product the high-end luxury spas around the world use and charge you like $200 for an oxygen-based facial. The O2 Zap, which we sell, for under $50, you can get probably 20 to 30 oxygen facials out of that. And it is incredible to put on your face and leave on your face before you go to bed at night. Everybody has different skin conditions. Some have oily, some have dry. Usually when you're dealing with adult acne, it's going to be very oily skin. And so you really need to open up those skin pores. So I recommend in cleansing the bowel, changing your diet. If you're having acne, you're producing too much bad oil, so you want to eat healthier. Also, we've had reports of people using the Detoxidine, the iodine, rubbing it on their face, and that seems to work fairly good as well. Maybe do 1 day, 1 night with the O2 Zap, 1 day with the Detoxidine, and then just keeping your face clean, but really addressing the bowel. And cleaning out the harmful organisms, cleaning out the system. Again, I don't like to go down each condition and say, oh, take this, because I know cleansing and detoxification pretty much works on everybody. And I sound like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but it really is that simple to be healthy. All the other doctors out there, coming up with all these long programs and all this, you don't need that. The body is made to heal very simply with just rest, water, sunlight, and detoxification. Really, if you think about it, that's all you need, but that's why it's easier to do the cleansing of the intestines. Over the last 25 years, we've put together the perfect program that works, starting with and repairing and cleansing the bowel, then going on to the liver and gallbladder, then going on to the harmful organisms, and then going on to the chemicals and toxic metals. So it's all about just taking care of yourself, cleaning your internal environment and cleaning your external environment. One more thing about acne, if you're wearing makeup clogs the pores, makeup is extremely toxic. Switch to a natural makeup, or just stop wearing makeup for a while. Okay, next question is, can I talk about women's health? Anything for naturally helping fibroids, balancing hormones, getting rid of excess estrogen. So what is the root cause? What is the root cause of all the situations that women are having right now and men are having right now? When men have andropause, women have menopause. We have an epidemic right now of hormone dysfunction. So what's causing the hormone dysfunction? Well, endocrine disrupting chemicals are one of the major causes. All the pesticide, the phthalates, the BPA, the plastics, the cosmetics, the chemicals in your home, the shampoos, all of that, the soy. So basically we have hormone or endocrine, basically what I call endocrine disrupting chemicals everywhere. If you have air fresheners in your house, if you have fire retardants, you know, if you have that memory foam mattress and you're sleeping on, if you take your clothes to the dry cleaners and get them back, if you wash your clothes with laundry detergent that's not organic, if you wash your dishes with dishwashing detergent that's not organic, if you use chemical cleaning products, if you're spraying Roundup on your yard. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So if you use perfume, if you use sunscreen, if you're slathering sunscreen on your body, I mean, all of these things are contributing to, if you eat out in any restaurant, you're eating genetically modified foods, all of those are going to affect you. So lack of exercise, lack of meditation, lack of detoxification, lack of cleansing. So fixing your hormones and addressing your hormones and balancing your hormones is going to be, there's going to be one solution for that. And the solution is going to be avoiding, we have multiple videos on how to go through your home and we go through your kitchen, we go through your bedroom, we go through your bathroom, we go through every area. We'll post that link below so you can watch all the videos of how to clean your home of all the toxic chemicals that you're exposed to every day. And also clean your workplace and then clean your internal diet and start detoxifying. And after that, your hormones should come back to normal. But when you're taking in fluoride and bromine and chlorine and you're taking in all these other things, you have to avoid that. If you want some help with your hormones, I would recommend that you talk to Dr. Loretta Lanphier at Oasis Advanced Wellness. She's been doing hormone testing, regulation. She uses the same cleansing programs, all natural products. You can find her at Oasis Advanced Wellness. Her name is Dr. Loretta Lanphier. She worked here at Global Healing Center for a long time. She's an expert that I would recommend you go to if you want some professional help with balancing out your hormones, which I think is a growing epidemic, and women are struggling with this all over the world right now. So, good question. The next question is actually the last question. Is I have been using Oxy-Powder for about 6 months with great results. However, my gastrointestinal doctor says it was bad for my bones because all the magnesium was getting stored in them. So let me just tell you about the current medical system. The current medical system and doctors are not taught about minerals. They're not taught about cleansing. They're not taught about detoxification. They're not taught about water fasting. They're not talking about eating raw foods. They're not taught about diet. They're not taught about exercise, maybe a tiny bit. So what we have is a medical-based system that is designed to keep you sick and keep you on pharmaceuticals and never get you better. So when you take these products into your medical practitioner and they look at it and they see magnesium, they're going to flip out and say, talking about Oxy-Powder, and say, oh my gosh, you're getting all this magnesium. They have no idea that the magnesium we use is magnesium oxide and it's not going to be absorbed in your body. The only reason we use that form of oxide and the hydroxides in magnesium in Oxy-Powder is because magnesium is one of the only minerals that the outer lattice changes structure when it's under pressure at certain temperatures, and we're able to stabilize monatomic oxygen onto the magnesium molecule. Oxy-Powder is not a magnesium supplement. It's not designed to provide magnesium into your body. The magnesium in there is designed to do is hold the monatomic oxygen so when it reacts with the citric acid or the acids in your body or your bowel, it slowly releases reactive oxygen species, not O2, but reactive oxygen species. So please, do your research or take the information from our website. More and more medical doctors are realizing that what they're doing is not working. And they are realizing because patients, just like you, are walking into their office and saying, "Doctor, what do you know about this vitamin? What do you know about this herb? What do you know about this formula?" And they don't know. So, they have to start learning, or else, they're going to start losing patients. But what I'm telling you is, hopefully you can prevent any of diseases. Everything is in prevention, really. And until next time, live healthy, enjoy your life.